one rod, one reel, one lure. I'm going to show you why this one bait is very versatile, and I'm going to show you 3 retrieves that the pros never tell bank anglers. Stay tuned, subscribe to the channel. You're going to learn a lot. It's going to be a good one. Let's get to it. Today, we're working with the 10-inch booster worm from 6 Cents Fishing. We're throwing it on a 3/16-ounce bullet weight, and we're throwing it on a 5/0 worm hook. During the month of August, it's very hot. You really just can't beat a 10-inch worm. Today we have a Texas red, and they're very versatile because they can be fished shallow, they can be fished deep, they can be fished in open water, around structured grass, anything you can name, and you can catch bass on it. Today we have it in a natural color. Anything green, anything black, blue, June bug will get you bit. But a little pink, a little green, good natural color, even though the water is quite stained, but you just can't beat natural and pressured ponds and lakes. With that being said, I'm going to show you the first retrieve. My favorite way to work this bait is try to cast and not get snagged. I actually seen a lure in a tree when I first arrived, so we know how that goes for bank anglers. Sling that sucker out there. You can throw them on bait casters, but I also love to throw them on spinning reels as well. And for the first retrieve, very basic, super duper basic. Cast it out, count it down to see how deep your water is. The particular pond we're fishing today is only about 3 feet deep out there where I'm casting at. So I counted about 3 seconds. And then once it hit the bottom, I'm literally just going to drag that worm like so. Drag it very slowly. I'm going to stop, wait 2 to 3 seconds. If the bass is super lethargic, I may wait 5 to 7 seconds. But I'm just going to reel up that slack, and I'm just going to drag that bait slowly but surely. It definitely works great when you're on top of grass, when you're around structure. Sometimes it bang off of those sticks, the brush piling, timber, whatever it may be, you know. And when it vibrates and bounces off of that structure, it triggers a reaction strike. It makes a sound that the bass can hear, and the bass are able to hone in on it from a little bit of a distance. Sometimes every here and there, you may even get stuck on the structure. And if you ever get stuck, and just pop that thing free, and once you snap it out of there, it'll definitely make a bass think that it's wounded or it's the perfect feeding time. It'll just come and just smack your lure right in the head. So we're just going to finish out the retrieve like so. Just continue dragging. I'm feeling just a little bit of depth change as it's getting more shallow, closer towards the bank. Not feeling much structure, but that's what you're doing as you're dragging. You're filling out the depth, filling out the structure, and you're just dragging it just in case a bass just may be sitting there. And maybe he's not willing to chase, but he's willing to eat. And if you can present them a lazy meal in their face, yeah, eat it almost every time, especially a 10-inch worm in the summer, because their appetites are super high. And if a bass can get a high protein meal without wasting a lot of energy, that is just money. That is gold to them. Just dragging it, reel up the slack, drag. We actually got just a slight bit of grass on there. Not sure that grass is healthy. You usually want some of the healthier grass in your lake. That's where the bass are going to sit at. But we're just going to fan cast and just figure them out. That's all. This is just the first step of putting a pattern together. You just got to figure them out. You got to fill them out. Figure out where the grass and the structure at, and those will be your key spots to target. Rigging is very simple. All you need is a bullet weight, a hook, and a worm. Slide your bullet weight on first, slide your hook on next, tie an improved clinch knot, wrap your line several times. You should create a loop, bring your tag in, back through that loop, and back through the next loop that you just created. Moisten and lubricate your line, of course. Pull it tight, cinch it together. Snip your line, the tag line, then get your worm ready, insert it about a 1/4 inch of the way, bring the hook back out, slide your worm up the hook, then you flip it around, and then you get your worm and you measure it out with your hook to find the hook point. Once you find the hook point, be sure to bring the hook through the worm so it comes out on the top, and then bring the worm, slide it right back to the point of that hook to test expose it. Okay. Now let's say you get nothing as you're dragging it around. Like I said, use that as a scouting tool. Figure out the depth, figure out structure, grass. And if you don't catch a lethargic bass that way, there are multiple ways to retrieve that worm. So now we're just going to cast out. I'm going to show you my other way. Going to have to kind of side arm it. Trees are everywhere right now. But cast it out, let it sink to the bottom as usual. Like I said, this pond is not that deep, but if you have a deeper pond, be sure to count down those seconds. And once it hit the bottom, I'm going to show you The second favorite retrieve, you just reel up the slack a little bit, keep your rod tip at an angle, keep at about a good 10 to 11 o'clock position, and you just stroke that joker. You really want to hop it, you want to lift it up out the bottom. You reel up your slack, and you really hop that thing out the bottom. Wait like a second or two, then you rip it up. You just hop it up, especially if you have grass and you rip it through that grass. I'm telling you, you will get some of the most vicious, some of the best strikes, and catch some of the bigger bass in your pond. And you're just going to reel up the slack, and you're going to just hop it. Sometimes you drag it, you catch too much grass, you catch too much trash and junk on the bottom. You can just hop this thing over it all. You don't have to drag it through. You can just keep hopping it, reel up the slack. And this right here, this works when the bass are just a little more in the feeding mood. When maybe they don't want something super slow, maybe they want something to react off of, maybe they need something that's going to trigger them to bite. That's when you can just hop that thing, it's going to lift up, and that tail is just going to flutter back down. It's important to throw a light piece of weight. Like I said, today we're throwing a 3/16. If I have a pond that's over 7 foot, anything deeper than that, I may go up to a 1/4 ounce. But you just reel, hop, repeat. Let it flutter down, let it sit. Wait to see if you're going to get a bite. A lot of your bites are going to come after it falls and flutter down. Trust me. So you just got to be ready to keep your line semi-tight. And you can also, if you feel like you're not getting bit, you feel like your water's too stained, like I said, we kind of got a natural color. This color actually works good in clear and stained water. If you really need to stand out in some murky and dirty water, throw a June bug and throw a black color. And the bass are going to sit 100% of the time. And continue to make fan casts. You cast ahead, you cast at 11 o'clock angle, you cast at your 9 o'clock, cast at your 3 o'clock. Keep fan casting, covering water, and just picking out different spots. Different spots will have different structures, different grass, sometimes even a contour, a depth change, or it may even change from like a sandy bottom to a gravel bottom. Little subtle changes can make a key difference. So you just got to keep covering water, keep fishing. Do not get discouraged if you don't get bit at first. You just keep covering water in the pond. Another thing that makes this bait great and versatile is you don't always have to cast out. Like I said, we're still on the shaded side, so you always look for structure, cover, whatever the bass may relate to. It's always hot in the south, it's super hot in Florida. We have grass on the edge, especially if you have grass and hard structure in the mix. You can just pitch this thing out there, pitch it to any kind of cover that you see, and just imagine a bass being there. 9 times out of 10, the bigger bass in your lake is going to take the best cover, which usually consists of grass, some kind of hard structure, and or depth change. And look for the most combined structure and cover there is. So look for those key areas. And another simple retrieve, just pitch it out there, just shake that rod in place. But you really have to feel like a bass is there, or you have to know that that spot is a key spot on the lake. And it literally takes nothing, just shake it in place. If a bass bites it, they bite it. If they don't bite it within those first like 5 to 10 shakes, you can really pitch along another part of the grass line. And I can just do this all day. This is very simple, very easy. Just toss that thing out there, give it a couple of shakes. Like I said, we don't get bit after that's 1 shake, 2 shake, 3 shakes, 4. If I don't get bit within those like 3 to 5 shakes, I'm going to pick that worm up and I'm going to flip it elsewhere. Flip it over here. Like I said, you got to fan cast. You got to kind of cast from left to right or right to left. Just got to figure them out. You want to put that worm right in their face. Want to shake it, shake it, shake it. See if we get anything. Nothing. So sun is going to be up here soon in Florida. The water temps are up, so I can only imagine the bass are probably in some better shade or some better grass areas since I can't catch them here. Or they may even be out in the middle. But I'm going to tell you a true fact. Everybody think that all of the bass go straight out to the middle during the summer. That's not a fact. That is a myth. Don't get me wrong. A good amount of bass will go deep. But there's also a percentage of bass that remain shallow all year long. Bass are shallow water creatures. They prefer to stay shallow whenever it's possible. They do not want to go deep unless they absolutely have to. So there is a percentage of bass that will stay shallow, and that's where us bank anglers come in, when we have to really dial in and just be able to work with what we can work with. We know we can't reach them out there without a boat. You can maximize your opportunities by just capitalizing and really figuring out the key spots on your lakes. As far as the gear we're using, very, very simple, doesn't take much. A medium rod paired with a 2500 size spinning reel, which is perfect in my opinion. I don't like a reel that's too big. I don't like a reel that's too small. Reels that are too big don't seem to get the same casting distance, and reels that are too small, they do not spool enough line. So 2500 series right in between. Have it paired with 10-pound braid, Power Pro braid. Doesn't really matter what brand you use, but of course we love the 10-pound braid for the added strength, the added sensitivity, and we really able to get a good casting distance on our lures. And of course, in order to trick those fish, we have a fluorocarbon leader. This leader probably runs about a good 3 to 4 foot or so, but you always want you some leader line. I have 12, maybe 14-pound fluorocarbon leader attached to this, just to be able to fool those bass. Braid is easy to see, fluorocarbon cuts through the water, is not quite as visible. And for the rod, this rod is a Duck It Fishing Jacob Wheeler Pro Series combo. It comes with a rod and reel for under $100, but I upgraded the reel to a 2500 Paradigm Duck It reel. The other reel works great. I have it paired onto my other rod at the house, but today we only brought one rod, one reel. And you know, the only thing I fish with is Duck It rods. As you can see, super duper light, holding it with one finger. It just doesn't get any better than that. They're super light, they're halo sanded, and they just extra sensitive. Paired with that sensitive braid, you feel every thump, you feel every grass, every rock, piece of structural cover. You literally feel everything, and you're able to tell what the heck you're hitting. I put a few guys on and they tell me nothing but great things about these rods. And the worm, like I said, it doesn't really matter what worm you throw, but I'm throwing a 10-inch 6 cents worm. You know I'm a 6 cents guy myself. Natural color here, got a little plum going on. You can also throw your June bug, or you can throw your natural green, depending on your water clarity. Paired with a 3/16 ounce bullet weight, just got that from Walmart. And also a size 3 hybrid jugular hook from 6 Cents Fishing. You can get all of this gear from 6centsfishing.com as far as the baits and hooks, and you can get the rod and reel from the Duck It website itself. Get it from the source and you won't regret it. And of course, it helps the channel out. It helps me produce more videos like this one for you guys. And enough about the gear. Stay tuned for the next video, because the next video we're going to go over even more worm retrieves. We're going to go over different style of worms, not just the Texas red, but we're going to talk about weightless. We're going to talk about wacky red. We're going to talk about shaky heads. We're going to really break down those worms. So stay tuned for another video coming. Keep those lines tight. Stay safe. Peace.